What is up, everybody? Bobby here, Nintendo Guru. I'm solo at the moment. I think Ian will pop on shortly. We could have missed the time zones up, possibly. We'll see. But for now, I'm gonna kind of go it alone for a little bit and kind of see how things progress. I gotta keep checking my Twitter just to see if he messages me and starts yelling at me for starting early or late, whatever it might be. Okay, so real quick before we jump into everything, I wanted to show. I went to the retro store today, Next Level Games, and it's. I love this store, I really do. And me and my buddy Miguel, we go there quite often. Go to check out some stuff. What is up, Professor Acid? What up, Lucas Lore? How you guys doing? For those who don't know, I collect Nintendo Power. I've been collecting Nintendo Power for the past 2 years now. I don't go crazy for them and go out of my way, but whenever I see them, I like to try to buy them. So I won't show the Nintendo Power I got just yet. I just want to show the other two things that I picked up. I picked up Legend of Zelda, the gold case. I don't see many of these around anymore. A lot of what you see is in the gray case with the gold label. I definitely wanted to grab the gold one. And then Super Mario Brothers 2. So I got in this weird kick lately where I bought a Retron HD. This is the controller for it. I bought a Retron HD and I started buying old school Nintendo games again. I have a bunch of them, but I started to buy them again just to try to get whatever I could. So I picked those two up today. I think I paid $14 for Super Mario 2 and $24 for The Legend of Zelda. But the main reason I went was for these. So the first book that I picked up is Nintendo Power, issue number 2. Castlevania 2 is on the cover. It's got Simon Belmont, and he's holding Dracula's head in his hand. The little skull thing over there. Really cool. Really great shape. The poster is still inside, which is rare. Actually has a letter in here. Something from Nintendo Power and all that. So really good. Really amazing shape. I was shocked. I used to have this Max controller. I don't know how many of you guys used to have it. Like, I love that controller. It was amazing. It was great for hockey. Ice hockey. Blades of Steel, not so much. But ice hockey it was good for. So that's the one I got. And this one has escaped my hands many, many times. Lost many eBay bids on this one. But the first issue of Nintendo Power. So I picked it up today. So happy. So happy. It is just amazing. Hold on. I didn't want to cough in your ears. The condition is perfect. Like, really, I mean, there's some nicks on and stuff. But the card is still in the back of it. That's a huge thing when you look at these. The poster is still in it. Howard Phillips, this guy, I don't know if you guys remember, he was like the first face president of Nintendo. The top 30 in the first issue. This is pretty awesome. So we'll go over this. We'll talk about this. So the top 30 back in 1988. Number 1 was The Legend of Zelda. And what used to happen was you used to fill that card out that I showed you. You used to fill the card out, and then you would vote for your games, and then send it in. And number 2 was Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Number 3 was Metroid. Number 4 was the original Super Mario Brothers. Number 5 was Kid Icarus. Number 6 was RC Pro-Am. Number 7 was Ice Hockey, the original Ice Hockey I was talking about earlier. Number 8, Rad Racer. Number 9, Top Gun. And number 10, Double Dribble. I'm going to say Double Dragon. And it would go down to a top 30. You had Pro Wrestling, Castlevania, Goonies 2. Goonies 2 was weird. So for those that don't know, the original Goonies 2 was a supposed to be a sequel to the original Goonies game. But in the United States, we didn't get the original Goonies game. We got Goonies 2. And I used to think, like, okay, I guess this is a sequel for the movie? No, it was a sequel for the game. The original game only came out in Japan. Kind of strange. But that said, it is what it is. Kung Fu was 14, Wizards and Warriors, Russian Attack, Mega Man, Excite Bike, Ikari Warriors, Spy Hunter, Baseball, Contra, Ghosts and Goblins, Side Pocket, Mario Brothers. Man, the original Mario Brothers, number 25. That's Renegade, Section Z, Gradius, Ring King, and Rygar. But that was kind of cool. You had the head letters sent in. I wonder where these kids are today. Like, I wonder if these kids have their stuff. Like, that dude, I wonder if he still has this issue of Nintendo Power and, like, that framed. His name is Eric Mast from North Ridgeville, Ohio. That's funny. That is so funny. Let's see what else we got here. What else is in here? We get the mailbag where people just write into Nintendo. They had a movie section. So in the movie, but this is crazy. So look, there's the movie section. They're talking about Big Top Pee-wee, or Pee-wee's Big Top. 8 Men Out, the movie. Vibes. This is strange, man. They had a celebrity profile, Kurt and Cameron Cameron. This dude, and honestly, this was just straight up nonsense. This was propaganda by Nintendo. They would tell you, like, all the stuff, and, you know. But what I used to love about it, though, is to get all the sneak peeks and the upcoming stuff, and, like, the tips and tricks, and all the different things, and there's Contra in here. But this is number one, and I can't believe I got it. I'll probably, honestly, I might frame it. I don't know. I just don't want to mess it up. But it's like great. I mean, you can see it's in perfect shape, man. Like, you don't find one like that anymore. Like, it's just awesome. Even the spine is in perfect shape. Like, it's insane. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I was like, yeah, man, I want it now. So you can't go wrong with that. Yeah, I think I am gonna. Nintendo Family Gaming. That's Joel Brooks. You guys got to check out his channel. He just started his YouTube channel. Give him a shot. And RCC or RC Cola. I don't know why I said RCC. RC Cola. I used to drink RC Cola when I was a kid. My grandfather used to have it. Let's see if Ian has messaged me yet. Probably not. No. Okay. We'll see what happens. It's a little interesting. So I just read something on the internet, and everything you see on the internet is true, right? Let me make sure I get this right. The Resident Evil 7 and Metal Gear Solid 5 designers are now with Nintendo EPD. So Nintendo EPD, for those that don't know, is apparently a new team that Nintendo's been building. Man, it's crazy stuff. Like, these are top designers that they've been grabbing to build this team with, and I'm kind of curious what the future's going to hold. It's pretty awesome. Seriously, like, I'm liking where this is going. Let's see. There you go. RC Cola. The good stuff. Yeah, Luke, it is really exciting because when you think about it, like, here's Nintendo doing the Switch, and there's people saying, like, oh, we need third-party games, we need this, we need that, and Nintendo basically building their development teams out. Like, it makes you wonder, like, what exactly are they going to build for the Switch, essentially. You know, it's kind of cool. So today on Nintendo PlayStation Podcast, Toby and I were going over some stuff. I'll give you guys a sneak peek. So one of the stories was, we had news stories. We do news stories every week. And my news story that we talked about was, I don't know if you guys saw this, but apparently, was it Rainway? They have an app that's coming to the Switch where you can stream PC games. And they have, already, they put Nier streaming on there, Witcher 3, and Batman Arkham Knight were all streaming perfectly through this thing. And if you go to their Twitter page, you can actually follow the links and see the video playing through, which I thought was phenomenal. I thought it was amazing. That's possible, Lucas. So what I want to know from you guys is this. I'm gonna treat this just like it's a episode with Ian for a little bit, and like I said, we'll see if he pops in at any time throughout this. I'll just keep checking my Skype to see if he shows up. He hasn't yet, so that's fine. But what I want to know from you guys is, what is the first Nintendo console that you guys had? What was the one that made you guys go, oh my god, I gotta have this thing? Like, even if it was just something your parents bought you. But what was that first game, that first glimpse of Nintendo that you guys got that was just like, oh my god, this is amazing? For me, I grew up, so when we grew up, we had an Atari 2600 in the house. And my mom, my dad, and my brother and I, we all played all the time. Big on Activision games. My mom was great at River Raid. My mom used to kill everybody at River Raid. She was also the Miss Pac-Man champion of the neighborhood. Like, nobody could top her. One time she was sick and she was home from work for a while, and she actually flipped the level. Like, she scored so many points that it flipped the score and she went back to 0. And because she sat there all day playing the original Miss Pac-Man. So, for me, like, playing Pitfall and then Pitfall 2, like, I don't know if you guys remember this, but back in the day when you had Activision games, if you accomplished certain feats, you could take pictures of the screen and then mail it to Activision, and they would mail you these patches that you could, like, put on your jacket or your shirt or whatever like that, And my mom got one for River Raid, and I got one for Pitfall 1 and Pitfall 2. So for Pitfall 1, you just need to score like this crazy score, and I did. I got way over that, and I scored it. And then for Pitfall 1 or Pitfall 2, you had to basically get the perfect score and complete the game in order to get the patch, and I did that. I played so many hours. My dad just messaged. He was watching for a little bit, and he just wanted to message me back. That's cool. So, but basically, what happened was we would play, and I played so many hours, and I wound up getting a perfect score. Like, anytime you fell far or anything like that, like, you would lose your stuff. You would lose your score, and so I was able to go through that game, accomplish everything, get all the major goals, and beat it. And so my mom took a picture and she sent it to Activision, and I got patches for that as well. So it's kind of cool that they did that stuff. But for me, so coming out of the Atari, we moved into the Atari 2600. I mean, Atari 7800, because I couldn't convince my parents to buy me an NES for anything. I begged and begged and begged, and my mom and dad were like, no, you want to play games? Go in the other room. We got some Atari games over there for you. You can go play the Atari games. You're not going to play Nintendo. My cousins had gotten Nintendos for Christmas. What is up, Nintendo Impact Gaming? Barry Dunn, how are you doing? So my mom and dad were like, no, we're not going to get you a Nintendo. Not going to happen. And I begged and begged and begged, man, to the point where, like, I was crying. I wanted one so bad. My cousins had got them for Christmas, and the family was big into boxing. My dad, my grandfather and stuff, and my uncle broke out Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. And it made the family kind of, like, stand up. Like, my dad was like, oh, wait a minute, this is kind of cool, But still wouldn't go out and buy it. So I convinced my parents to get me the Atari 7800, which was one of the worst consoles ever. Did not last very long. But the selling point was I could play my 2600 games, plus any new games on it. But Atari just ran it into the ground very quickly and crashed and burned. And then, 1 year, it'd been like a year of us begging my mom and dad to get us a Nintendo, and they kept telling us no. And 1 year, me and my brother did exceptionally well in school, because normally I was about a BC student, and I actually made the merit roll, the merit roll was all A's and B's in my school. So I got all A's and B's, and my brother got all B's. So he made the merit roll as well. And so my parents were so happy with us that they were like, hey, we will give you, we'll get you this Nintendo if you want the Nintendo. So a little foresight or hindsight into the way things used to be back in the day was there was no Amazon, there was no internet, obviously. And what I did was my mom ordered through Sears. So you used to go to you could either call on the phone or go to the Sears store and order what you want out of the catalog. And then you just had to wait for it to show up. And then they would just call you randomly and be like, hey, your order's here, come pick it up. So, turn around, and I'm like, okay, we'll do this. And months went by, and nothing. No phone calls, no nothing. So now I'm getting desperate, because I know we're allowed to have it. I just can't, I don't have it yet, So my mom turns around. This is a Saturday afternoon. I told this story on Sean Capri's episode of We the Gamer Cast the time I was on there. And, but I like telling this story. So my mom, I start calling stores, and I call the local mall. Every weekend I start calling all the stores. I start calling like KB Toys. There was a store called Circus. We had just gotten a Toys R Us in the area. I would call Toys R Us, and I'd beg my mom, like, oh my God, come on. And she'd be like, if they have it, we'll see, whatever. And then, so this one Saturday morning, man, I just got lucky. I called KB Toys, and they were like, we got 2 in stock. And I was like, dude, can you hold that for us? We're coming now, please. And the guy's like, nope, can't hold it. First come, first serve. And I was like, man, please, I've been calling for months. Please hold it. Nope, can't hold it. So I was like, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. So now I run out to the kitchen, and I said to my Mom, KB Toys has a Nintendo. Can we go pick it up? And she's like, yeah, you gotta give me some time. I'm like, no, Mom, you don't understand. They're not gonna hold it for us. They got 2 in stock. We have to go now. And I'm begging her. So she's like, hold on for a minute. Let me check my checkbook. So she looks in her checkbook. And I guess she just wanted to make sure she had the money or whatever. And she's like, okay, let's go. So me, her, and my brother jump in the car. And we start driving over to to the local mall. And my mom, God love her, she doesn't drive fast for anybody. And I'm like in the back seat telling her, like, please, Mom, hurry up. Please, you gotta go faster. Like, please. And she turns around, she looks in the mirror. She doesn't turn around, but she looks in the mirror and she goes, if you don't shut up, I am going to turn around and you will never get a Nintendo. And I was like, okay, you win. So I sit in the back seat and I don't say nothing, but I'm dying. And it's about I would say a 10-minute drive, 15-minute drive from my house, but it was the longest. It felt like 5 hours. We get to the mall. Get out, we run in, and I run up to the guy, and I'm like, I just called a little while ago, and I asked about a Nintendo, like, do you have it? And he's like, we have 1 left. And I was like, oh my God, my mom's coming, could you please? And he's like, I can't hold it, your mom has to be here. But my mom's walking, and she's not, like, she didn't keep up, and so then she comes walking a couple minutes later, and I was like, here's my mom, please, sell us the Nintendo. So my mom said to me and my brother, she said, since you guys had to wait so long for this, I'm gonna let you guys pick 2 games that you can have in addition to this. So for me, I then start to negotiate with my brother, because the game came with Super Mario Brothers, or the console came with Super Mario Brothers. I believe we got the action set with the gun, so we got Super Mario and Duck Hunt. So we do that, no big deal. We're good to go with that. And then I start negotiating with my little brother, and I'm like, dude, you want Mike Tyson's Punch Out, right? And he's like, no, I don't want Punch Out. And I'm like, no, really, seriously, I think you really want Punch Out. Like, I think you would enjoy it. It's a good game. He's like, no, you want Punch Out. I don't want Punch Out. I'm like, Tony, please, I'm telling you, just get Punch Out. I'll get something else. It'll be good, man. You like Punch Out. I convinced him finally. And then I bought The Legend of Zelda. He got Punch Out. And it came with Mario Duck Hunt. And, like, I walked out that day thinking that, like, I just landed a deal of a lifetime. And like when you looked at it, it was like, oh my god, we pulled in my mind at that time, the holy trinity of Nintendo games. Like the three of the best games at that time on the console, right there. Punch Out, Legend of Zelda, and the original Mario game. And it was like, how did I do this? This is crazy. And so it was cool, and it was a lot of fun. But the nice stuff was, my dad, like, I played baseball all the time as a kid. So my dad would always like want to play baseball on Nintendo with me, and would always want to play the sports games with me and stuff. And we would set up like little World Series together and play and all that, to the point where I guess he just got tired of getting beat, so he just stopped playing. But I always the NES was notorious for a lot of sports games and Nintendo, but at the time, like, it wasn't this whole license debacle that it is now, where like football, you had a few football games. Tecmo Bowl was the be all end all for the NES, I felt. Baseball, there was so many baseball games. But at the time, baseball was like America's favorite pastime. We were still in that era where baseball was God, and it was like, this is what you do, and you played baseball all the time with your friends, and you watched it all the time, and you played it on the Nintendo all the time. There was all kinds of Nintendo baseball games. And I pretty much had them all. Like, every time one would come out, I would buy it. And I would play it and master it and then move on to the next one, as like RBI. And the best was Baseball Simulator 1000. I'm sorry, Baseball Stars. That was the best baseball game to this day. I think I might have messed up the times, honestly. He's in Japan. My gut tells me we messed up the time zones. So it is what it is. Anyway, so for me, I looked at it, and Baseball Stars was the be all end all of baseball games, and me and my best friend would play all the time. What's your Lucas? I'll tell you what. You give me your Skype name. DM me on Twitter, and we'll set it up. How about that? So essentially, it was, to me, one of the best, because you could make your own teams, build your own teams, change the names of the players, buy, sell, fire, hire, all that stuff, and it was just awesome. It was a lot of fun. So I would always play, like I said, I would always play the sports titles. So that was basically where my whole entrance into Nintendo was. But to me, the greatest was Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Still is to this day. Josh Stapleton, a friend of mine, actually made me coasters. A bunch of, he made me 4 of them. He messaged me one day. He's like, "What's your favorite video games of all time?" So I said, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, Kid Icarus, Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, and Last of Us. And so he made them. He made coasters. He actually said the top 5. So I gave him a top 5. I forget what my number 5 was at the time now. And so I wound up getting these coasters from him. So it was kind of cool. But Punch-Out was, to me, just a great game. Really was. A lot of fun. And it was tough. It was hard. And it was amazing to beat Tyson. I won't go into that story, how I beat Tyson. You want to hear that story, go listen to Mark Carabin's Warp Whistle episode where I talk about that. So for the Game Boy was a big one. Who talked about the Game Boy? Let me go through your lists here. We'll see what we have, and I'll see if it sparks anything from me. Lucas Lore, he talked about the Game Boy. It was his first console that you could afford. See, now you got the Game Boy, the second edition. I had the OG brick gray one. Horrible, man. The green screen, the green and the gray, like, so bad. Joel, my uncle, bought me a NES, and I didn't know what it was, but this. Yeah, you know what, dude? It's the Super Nintendo holds a very near and dear place in my heart. I felt like the Super Nintendo was hands down one of the best. It's my favorite console that Nintendo's ever done. Because when I look at it, title for title, it has the best games across the board. Like, just wholeheartedly, just amazing. And I can't complain one bit with the way that console, like when you go, it's all the best sequels. Um, Everything seemed to get a sequel on there, and it was always the best that went through. Um, Chris White, his mom picked up an NES at a garage sale in '89. Wow, holy cow, dude! That's crazy, man. Yeah, that's awesome. It seems like a lot of guys, the Game Boy was their first one. RC Cola, same thing. Grandma won a Game Boy and she didn't know what it was, so she gifted it to us. Oh my god, that's crazy. Um, yeah, you know what, Barry? I talked about that the Rainway footage a little bit earlier. Dude, if this is legit, me and Toby talked about it today on the Nintendo PlayStation podcast. But if this is legit, if this works the way that it says it does, so essentially, for those that don't know, this Rainway app, what it'll do, it will allow you to stream PC games. It'll allow you to stream your PC through your Switch. So essentially, all those AAA games that might be skipping the Switch, you would still be able to buy them via Steam, and I'm not sure. I got to find out how it would work with Microsoft. I didn't read up on it and see if Microsoft would work, but like you could essentially then like stream. Oh, so essentially, what it does is it would. I'm sorry, I was reading a text. um, Essentially, what it would do is it would allow you to play, like, buy those games and then stream them into your Switch, which is kind of cool. I think it's really awesome. Right now, they already showed, like I talked about it earlier. If you go to Rainway on Twitter, you can see their footage for Nier, Witcher 3, and for Batman Arkham Knight, which I think is pretty phenomenal that they are able to stream that stuff into, via the PC and all. But what excites me is there's a lot of indie developed games that hit Steam and don't go nowhere else. So for me, like I look at Alwa's Awakening, it is such a crime that that game is stuck on Steam. There are so many people that are missing this game. Or I'm not, yeah, Alwa's Awakening is what it's called. I don't know if I called it that when I said it, but that's it's what it is a couple of guys from Zoink Games. They did like a little passion project on the side. Dude, if they can pull like Cuphead and like, man, all these games that are like the lower things over, just the fact, like, because here's the thing, let's be honest, like me, it doesn't appeal to me in terms of like the big AAA games because I don't have a PC that can run those games. Hey Ben, how you doing there, buddy? How's college going? Did you start college yet, or are you starting soon? You starting in the fall, right? Yeah, you know what, Nintendo Talk. My guest, he, I think the time zones got messed up, and he's in Japan, and I think what happened was it just got a little jacked up, something like that. Um, that's good. That's good. So, good luck, Ben, when you do that. So essentially, what you're looking at is if you can actually play these games on the Switch, I think it's a home run. I think Nintendo actually wins the support of a lot of people, and it actually helps them in the end. Um, Nintendo Talk, we would definitely we need to have a talk. We need to have a chat. How about that? We can work that out. If you follow me on Twitter at Nintendo Gurus, just shoot me a DM or shoot me a message, and we can set something up. So basically, the way I look at it is this: is for all the people that are kind of iffy on Nintendo with third parties and having the big AAA games, I think this is going to be huge. They listen. Chris, they've already said that they're okay with it. They've already said that like this is something that they're interested in, and they were going to let it happen. So I think you're going to see it happen. It's already running on there. Like they have a dev kit, it's working. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all pans out. If this was Sony, I would say it's not going to work. Because Sony doesn't like to play well with others, apparently. But the way Nintendo has been working with the crossplay, I think you're going to see them kind of accept this, and I think it'll be good. Ultimately, it's good for them, because they may not make money per se, but they do, because if I'm a PC gamer, and I love the PC game, if I'm going away on vacation, I don't want to have to lug my whole PC with me. So, if I can get it to go, then that's what I'll do. You know what I mean? Like if I can take my Switch on the go and go, it'll be interesting. It'll work. Oh my god, dude! Some of the comments that people leave on YouTube. I got to tell you something. So I did a video last week or 2 weeks ago where I was talking about AM2R. And all I was basically doing, because my Nintendo Talk channel, or my Nintendo Talk series that I do, you guys know, I report the news, I discuss it a little bit, and I don't really go too much. But for some reason, that AM2R video, exploded. And it got a lot of views. I think I'm up to 11,000 views now on it. And that's huge for me. That's the most views I've ever had on a video. But the people and the comments is so crazy. It amazes me when people come in and they just spew hate. And it's like, guys, maybe you think I'm PewDiePie and I'm not going to reply to you, but Chris will tell you, I'm the type of guy that will reply in a second, and I'm not afraid to reply to people. And let me see something here. So for me, it's like, I'm just looking through my list here. Let's see if I can... Random. I should call Klaus. Klaus from Zoink Games. Be like, Klaus, I'm going to talk to you for a minute. But ultimately, I think that it's funny that people they leave comments sometimes, and it's just like, guys, I'm going to say something to you because this is going to be fun. And Barry, get on. I'll call you now, Barry. We could talk a little SNES Classic. How about that? We're going to bring Barry Dunn in. Where you at, Barry? I would call Michael the Jet Ski, but Michael the Jet Ski. Barry, get on Skype. Come on, man. You tell me to call you and you're not even ready. Let's go. Now you say joking? Jesus. Ridiculous. So, for the most part, I forget what I was going to say. Yeah, Klaus from Zoink Games. So, I think we'll wrap this up in a few minutes. How about that? We'll give it 10 more minutes. We'll wrap it up, and we'll go from there. The Super Nintendo Classic. I reported on it this week that the FCC seems to be the problem with this. You know what? I'm going to answer your question in a second there, Nintendo Talk. Yeah, well, okay, so this guy just left let me jump on that first real quick. So this guy left a comment on the page, right? And he says, I love this. Let me look it up. And Nintendo Talk, thank you for subscribing to the channel. I appreciate it. But he says, good Lord, this video is obnoxious. Whine, whine, whine. Then you read a lines the AM2 creator and from Nintendo and spend a minute and a half pontification. People are nuts. Here's Barry Dunn. Let's go. Let's get Barry in here. See what's happening. Barry Dunn. Oh, what the hell?
Hello.
Change your. Come on. There we go. What are you on your phone?
Yeah, I'm in bed.
What do you mean you're in bed? Oh my god, this is nuts.
You know what time it is?
Let me think. It's 8 there, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's 1 o'clock in the morning, 1:30.
Yeah, 1:30. Well done.
Let's see. I can add. I can't read, I can't write, so that's a part of a problem.
Yeah.
Nintendo Talk says, "Hey Guru, how do you feel? How do you like the 2017 first party?" I'm a fan of what Nintendo's doing with the first party so far. I think it's a good lineup. I think it's the lineup we needed to have. I like Zelda coming out the gate. I like Mario Kart right behind it, even though it's not a new Mario Kart. ARMS, you know what, man? I was hyped up for ARMS, and I've kind of fallen off the wagon on ARMS. I'm not too hyped as I was at the time. I have it. I play it a little bit, but I'm not as excited about it. What's your take, Barry, on ARMS? Do you have it?
No, I actually didn't buy it. I was, pretty 50-50 on it, and I was like, no, there's not much content on it, to be honest.
Yeah.
To keep me motivated.
Yeah, I agree. I don't feel like ARMS is the type of game you do that slow rollout on. I feel like ARMS should have been a real strong push to do. It's even though Chris White isn't a fan of the Switch. I'm not going to get into this now because Chris and I have been banging.
Chris, I never heard.
No, but even though it's, I feel like you have a lot of great games coming out first party, like really strong, solid games coming out. If Xenoblade does hit when it's supposed to, as they're saying in the holiday time, which I'm figuring going to be December, that's massive, man. Between Mario Kart, between Splatoon 2, ARMS, Zelda. I mean, dude, Zelda's potentially, and I don't think anybody can dispute it right now, Zelda's a game of the year. Zelda's going to be the game of the year for a lot of people. It's still my game of the year. This DLC just made me fall in love with the game all over again on a whole different level. So for me, I'm excited for it. I'm excited to just keep going down that rabbit hole and such. But what's probably your standout game for 2017, Barry, first party?
First party, I would probably say Mario Odyssey. Well, hopefully that will be it. But can I make a point on Zelda? The problem I have with Master Mode is that there's a Lionel at the castle at the very start.
Yes.
What the hell?
What, at the
it's
castle?
Impossible. No, when you first start off the game, like brand new. It's
new
mode.
But that's hard mode, right? That's not just regular, is it?
Oh yeah, it's hard mode. Yeah.
Well, they're making it hard, man. It's what do you want? Lucas, give me 2 seconds, Lucas, and I'll add you in. I might be able to add him in now. Let's see if I can add him in now. Let's try to add Lucas to the call. This is going to be interesting. Something new all the time. I can't find him on the list. There we go. He's not showing up on the list, but let's see. Oh my God, Barry's face just exploded on the camera.
Nice.
It's like huge, man. Huge.
Thanks, it is.
It's like your face just completely erupted. There we go. Lucas, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, guys.
How are you? All right, first thing, Lucas, just turn the volume down on whatever you're watching us on.
Yeah, I got you, bud. There we go. All right, you muted there. Now I just can't see you guys.
You can't see us? Really?
I can't see you on my end. Can you see me?
Well, I can't see I just see the picture of you with this weird thing in front of your face.
That's the Titanfall Titan.
Is that what that is?
That is.
So, Lucas, here's my question. Because it sounds like in conversations that when I see you on Twitter and all that, you weren't a long time, or like maybe you left Nintendo for a little bit, and now the Switch kind of brought you back into the fold. Is that correct?
Yes. I absolutely adored Nintendo for the longest time, and then I became kind of a lapsed gamer. I went to kind of your PlayStation 4, your Xbox Ones. I thoroughly enjoyed those. But what got me and what frustrated me so much was that the Wii U didn't feel supported. And that's not a fair claim because by the end its library was incredible.
Yeah.
but I did lapse, and I got frustrated because there I was purchasing, my Metroids and my classic Zelda games and building this library that I knew wouldn't travel with me, and so that's where I lapsed. But the Switch, I bought one for my girlfriend for her birthday.
Mm-hmm.
I was ecstatic because she was excited by it, and I was telling myself, I was like, this isn't for me. I got her this Neon Joy-Con thing. I saved up. And I started watching her having so much fun with it. And she's not a gamer.
Yeah.
She's not a gamer. And so as she did that, I was like, oh, man. And Bobby, it was a credit card swipe, a bad financial decision, and an amazing gaming decision. And Breath of the Wild, 120 hours later. Oh, man, I'm so happy to be back enjoying Nintendo for all its creativity.
It's definitely, I feel, got us over that hump, for lack of a better word. I feel like they've definitely pulled it together on this console. I think so. When I listened to what Chris White's been saying recently, and for those that don't know, Chris is, after E3, he was pretty upset with Nintendo and their decisions. But from listening to him, basically what he's saying is he feels like we're starting to fall down that rabbit hole again of not getting the true support from third parties. Which way is Nintendo going? What are we doing? Where are we at? And to some degree, he's absolutely true in saying that. Although I do feel like at this point, the commitment from third parties is a little better than what it was with the Wii U. And when I say that, I mean like Ubisoft is actually making games that are legitimately Nintendo-esque games. They didn't do that on the Wii U, although I will say that they did a heck of a job with Rayman Legends. Like, that was a great game. But at the same time, like Zombie U, it's a good game. It's a great idea, great concept. But at the time, it really wasn't what Nintendo was about, and I think it just made no sense for people. But this time it feels like they're coming out and they're going like, hey, we're going to do Mario Rabbids, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, and they're going to hit all these different things, and then we'll see how it goes. And that's essentially where they're at. Like, they're at a good place right now. EA, yes, they're giving us FIFA, and some people are probably just like, oh yeah, FIFA, another FIFA, big deal. I'm happy with this FIFA that's coming. It doesn't sound like it sounds like it's dumbed down a little bit, and when I say that, I mean we're not going to get the cutscenes from the season mode, or where you create a player mode, but we're still getting that mode where you can run it and all that. So that's a good thing, that I didn't expect it to be able to run all the major cutscenes. I guess it's probably going to be more or less like it'll have a picture from the cutscenes with the text coming up underneath it or whatever, which is fine with me. Like, I'm not too upset about that. What do you expect from a handheld, essentially? It's a handheld that you can plug to your TV, pretty much. When I look at, like, there's still a lot of companies that said they're going to support that really haven't announced anything. And I think a lot of it has to do with they didn't get the dev kits till late. Everybody complains that they don't want the Switch to be a port machine. But then when companies aren't porting a bunch of old games over, they're getting upset that they're not supporting. So I feel like they're damned if they do, they're damned if they don't. I love you too, Chris. Have a good night, man, and enjoy your movie. I feel like they're damned if they do, they're damned if they don't. And they're in a situation where, if these companies just port over a bunch of their games, everybody's going to be mad. And I feel like they're in a position where they just got dev kits. Let them learn what they can do with these dev kits and what the Switch will essentially do, and then they can push and do some good things with it. I think we'll find out in the long haul where things go, but I'm excited. Like, the one that's kind of has me excited that I can't wait to see what they're doing is From Software. Just because I want to see if they bring a Dark Souls game or if they do something totally different. If they bring a Dark Souls trilogy or they bring like a port of Dark Souls 3 or whatever it might be. But they kind of interest me. And they kind of tend to be the wild dog in all this. But I look at Rocket League, that excites me. Like, I can't see how you don't get excited at Rocket League. And then the crossplay on top of it, that's just amazing. Like, they're going to crush with that. So I'm excited with the way it's going to go ultimately. So we'll see.
But I wonder, Bobby, I wonder if Dark Souls is the right demographic target for third-party games. Like, I wonder, and I don't know, are Nintendo gamers primarily Nintendo gamers, or are they, they've got a PS4 or an Xbox One and a Switch? Are they the ones that they need to have that type of third-party support on it versus like Mario Kingdom Rabbids or something akin to that?
Well, I think right now, the people that have Switches are the hardcore. I talked about this earlier today. I feel like there's two launches for Nintendo. You had the launch in March, which is a soft launch, which is essentially we're going to sell it to our hardcore fans. We're going to use them as like a groundswell. So they're all hyped up. They're screaming and they're shouting about the Switch and they're jumping off rooftops, screaming the praises, right? Building the hype. And then by the time Christmas comes around, we have Mario, which is our family-friendly game. And that's to sell to all the families, is the Mario game there. So they have a two-tier launch. They have the hardcore fans. Then they get, I don't want to say casuals, but I want to say the people that like Nintendo and know Nintendo. But they also pick up the hardcore Nintendo fans that kind of fell off. Because that's when there should be an abundance of supply and people should be able to get them more readily in their hands. Those are the people, the Dark Souls and stuff are the people that fell off. The ones that moved to PlayStation, that moved to Xbox. You're trying to win them back. And if you can bring games like Dark Souls, not that Bloodborne would ever come, but like a Bloodborne type game or like, a Grand Theft Auto or stuff like that. Like you bring those games, and granted, they're not traditional Nintendo games, and they're not games that like me or most of the Nintendo hardcore will play, but right now Nintendo needs to not really cater to us. We're getting everything we want. They need to now push out and start to bring in the second tier, start to, basically like welcome back the people that left, because I don't feel like, as much as I feel like Metroid is a hardcore game, I don't feel like Metroid's enough to do it. Zelda's a hardcore game. That could be enough to bring a lot of people over, but I feel like they need more after this, and Zelda, as big as it is, I think that you're going to see more people start to come across, and I think you'll eventually, as time goes on, you'll start to see the hardcore that fell off the wayside coming back, and I think that's what they need. They need to look at those games for those people, and that's where they're at. Barry, what's of the games that are coming to Switch that are third party? Which one's the one that probably has you hyped?
Third party, what's it called? Mario Rabbids third party or second party?
I would say that's third party all the way, because that's Ubisoft making it.
Yeah, I'd probably say Mario and Rabbids, to be honest. It's unique. It's different.
Yeah. Mario Rabbids has me excited, just because, and the funny thing is when it first got announced, I kind of stayed away from the announcement, but I saw everybody hating on it, and I just was like, oh god, here we go. Like, give it a chance. Just relax, people. Let's see what happens. And then it started to hit, and then it just, it did its thing. Your face exploded again, Barry.
Good night.
Josh Stapleton, what's up?
Whoa.
Relax, you're gonna make people sick. But I felt like Mario Rabbids was huge, and that was when people actually saw it played. It looks phenomenal, man. It looks really, really good. So I can't complain with that one. It's gonna be interesting to see what it does. I think we're gonna wrap this, Barry.
Yeah.
I think you look like you're about to. Look at you, like you're all chilled out in your bed, and
waiting for you.
Oh, you know what? There you go. There you go with your nonsense. So that is all. Next Sunday, this is the one I'm excited for. Next Sunday, I'm going to have a Twitch streamer on by the name of Bergability. I've been watching Berg for, probably like 6 months now. And he is really... Oh, wow. Wait a minute. Did you just see this, dude? Rainway developer shows off Overwatch on Switch.
Oh, yeah.
That is
For the
crazy, dude. This thing is going to be huge. Seriously. That's going to be massive. I can't believe this thing. This is going to be... If Nintendo drops the ball and tells them you can't put an app on our thing, they're done. They're done. But anyway, I am going to take off. It was good. Thank you guys for all coming out for the show. I apologize that I think we got our times messed up, me and Ian, because he's in Japan, and I had a feeling we were going to botch. I'm not good with Australia and Japan, so it is what it is. But I was saying next Sunday is Burgability. That'll be a lot of fun. It'll be great, man. He is a really good Twitch streamer, so he'll be enjoyable. Barry, thank you for jumping on. Lucas, thank you for jumping on, man.
Thanks for having me, man. This made my night. I appreciate it. I'll get my camera fixed one day.
We'll get your camera fixed. We'll bring you on for a full-on episode, and we'll have a chat and stuff. So
made my day, man. Thank you.
No problem. You guys have a good night. Thank you guys for tuning in. Peace.